Karen, why do you feel like homeopathy hasn't been widely accepted? In fact, even in the holistic community, there are some holistic practitioners that opt not to use homeopathy. Why do you think that is?
I think it's a conflict at a metaphysical level. I mean that it's like there is an underlying belief system with any system of medicine, right?
Yes.
Whether it be Chinese medicine or chiropractic or homeopathy or whatever, there are certain ideas that underlie it. Mm-hmm. And if I can generalize, by that I mean if I can talk about the philosophy of medicine, because I know that individuals within medicine vary considerably. You know, they're not all the same. But
right.
Speaking generally, medicine that we know, that we call Western medicine, allopathic medicine, conventional medicine, as it is in the United States, is based on the idea that's very materialistic, that we are physical beings. Now I'm talking about the system itself as a philosophy, that we're not really spiritual beings, we're not energetic beings, we're physical beings. Mm-hmm. And that medicine should be directed towards treating that physical level. When homeopathy comes forth and says, well, actually, we're energetic beings, mm-hmm. and the physical is secondary to that, there's a conflict. Mm-hmm. It's kind of like, maybe a simple way to understand, it's kind of like the argument between the religious person and the atheist,
right.
You know?
Yep.
They argue with each other, they interpret things differently, they won't accept each other's beliefs. It's the same thing in medicine, you know, that the idea that there's a life force is pretty much rejected by conventional medicine.
That's true.
Not by every individual, but by medicine. So from the beginning, when we say there is a life force and that idea is rejected outright, and then you say, well, the medicines that we use have an energy in them, that's rejected as well.
Sure.
So what's left?
Sure.
For most people is, well, there's nothing to it.
Yep.
You see.
Yeah, and that makes sense in terms of people discounting it. If they can't accept the premise that there's energy involved, they're just done with it completely. So that
and you know, Karen, an interesting thing is that nonetheless, in veterinary medicine, there's been quite a wide acceptance of Chinese medicine.
Right. Right.
And Chinese medicine has the same idea that there's an energy they call qi.
Qi.
It's not
right.
physical.
Right.
That circulates through the meridians, and you can direct that energy with needles. So strangely enough, veterinarians have accepted the idea of energy like that, but they reject the idea from homeopathy.
Well, and I think part of it will be proven with quantum physics, where I think, at least for me initially, it was the whole dilution aspect, that how can something that just has a vibrational imprint, there's not even medicine there, how can it affect the body? And I had a similar experience. Even before I was a veterinarian, I was a wildlife rehabilitator, and I worked with a rehabilitator that used homeopathy, classical homeopathy exclusively, and she had fantastic results. So I didn't even care how it worked. I just saw this tremendous improvement with wild animals using homeopathy, and I was a believer based on proof. So I saw testings occur, and it was all I needed. Yeah. Sometimes when you go through formal training to be a veterinarian, of course, you start questioning, well, there's no active medicine there, and then that's when it comes down to, because I do feel strongly about the spiritual aspects of medicine, so homeopathy was a natural progression for me in my practice, in my evolution as a doctor. But that's not necessarily true of all doctors. Richard, what do you, when people ask about research pertaining to homeopathy, and a lot of people, a lot of critics will say there's just no research out there, what do you say to people who have questions about that?
Well,